The great hall of Lyris Prime had never been so silent. Crystal pillars rose toward the high dome. Light from the twin suns filtered through the ceiling and painted the marble floor in soft gold. Nobles stood in perfect rows along the walls. Generals in silver armor formed a line near the throne. At the far end of the chamber stood a single human soldier. He did not move. He did not bow. He simply stood with his hands at his sides and his eyes forward. Queen Aerith entered the hall with slow, steady steps. Her robes flowed behind her like a trail of moonlight. The crown of living crystal rested upon her brow. Every being in the chamber lowered their heads. Every being except the human. Whispers moved through the nobles like wind through dry leaves. The human was small compared to the tall and luminous people of Lyris. His armor was dull grey. It bore the scars of fire and impact. His face was lined and calm. He carried no weapon. He had surrendered it at the door. Queen Aerith stopped before him. She studied him with eyes that had seen centuries of war and peace. "You are the one," she said. "Yes," the human replied. His voice was quiet. It did not echo, yet everyone heard it. General Keller stepped forward. "Your Majesty, this is the human soldier who breached the lower citadel during the siege. He fought through 3 divisions. He reached the inner sanctum." Murmurs grew louder. The memory of that day was still raw. The day the humans had broken through the unbreakable. Queen Aerith did not look at the general. Her gaze remained on the human. "You stood in the sanctum of my house," she said. "You stood where my bloodline has ruled for 1,000 years. Yes." The human answered, "And yet you did not take what was within." The hall stilled again. The sanctum had held the most precious treasure of Lyris, not gold, not power, something far more fragile. The human soldier met her gaze. "I was not there to take," he said. General Keller's voice sharpened. "You were there as an enemy." "I was there as a soldier," the human replied. "Orders brought me to the door. Choice stopped me from crossing it." A faint tremor passed through the nobles. Choice, that word carried weight. Queen Aerith lifted one hand. Silence returned. "My daughter was in that sanctum," she said. "The heir to Lyris. She was hidden there when your forces broke our outer lines, when the inner gates fell, when our guard lay broken." The memory of that battle flashed across many minds. Fire in the sky, ships burning, the roar of human engines, the fear that Lyris would fall. "I know," the human said. Gasps filled the chamber. Queen Aerith took one step closer. "You knew?" "Yes." "Explain." The human inhaled once. Slow, measured. "I entered the sanctum expecting resistance. I found a child instead." She stood before the final door with a blade too heavy for her hands. She was afraid. She did not run. A flicker of emotion crossed the queen's face. It was gone in an instant. "She told me who she was," the human continued. "She told me I would have to kill her to pass." Silence pressed down on the hall. "I lowered my weapon," he said. "I told her I would not." General Keller clenched his jaw. "Why?" The human's eyes shifted briefly to the general, then back to the queen. "Because she was a child," he said. "Because she was brave. Because war has lines that must not be crossed if we wish to remain more than beasts." The hall seemed to shrink around them. Queen Aerith's voice softened by a fraction. "My daughter told me of a human who knelt before her. She said he spoke to her as if she were already a queen. I did, the soldier said. She said you escorted her to the lower gardens and surrendered yourself to our guard. Yes. You could have escaped in the chaos. Yes. Why did you stay? The human's answer came without hesitation. Because I had given my word to her that no harm would come. While I still stood, a deep stillness filled the chamber. Even the light seemed to pause. For months the war had raged. For months Lyris and humanity had torn at each other. Each side believed the other cruel. Each side believed the other incapable of honor. And now this single human stood in the heart of the royal hall and spoke of lines and words and children. Queen Aerith studied his face as if searching for deceit. She found none. You understand, she said, that many here wish for your execution. I do. You understand that by sparing my daughter, you altered the course of this war. I hoped so. A faint stir moved through the generals. Queen Aerith took another step forward, until only a breath of space separated them. My daughter asked me to see you, she said. She said I must look into your eyes before I decided the fate of your people. The human did not blink. And what do you see? He asked quietly. The queen held his gaze for a long moment. In his eyes she saw no hunger for conquest, no pride in destruction. She saw weariness. She saw resolve. She saw a man who had chosen mercy when violence would have been easier. Without warning, she reached out. The whole gasped as Queen Aerith embraced the silent human soldier, her arms wrapped around his scarred armor. Her crown brushed his shoulder. For a heartbeat he stood rigid in shock. Then slowly he returned the embrace. No one moved. No one spoke. The ruler of Lyris held the enemy, who had breached her sanctum. When she stepped back, her eyes shone with unshed light. You spared my child, she said. You honored her courage. You honored yourself. In doing so, you honored us. She turned to the hall. Let all present witness this moment. This human soldier acted with a nobility that many born to crowns never achieve. General Keller bowed his head. Queen Aerith faced the human once more. Your name, Captain Elias Ward. Captain Ward, she said, her voice carrying through every corner of the chamber. Today you leave this hall not as prisoner but as envoy. Shock rippled outward. You will return to your leaders, she continued, and you will tell them that Lyris seeks an end to this war. Not from weakness, from strength of choice. We have seen that humanity is capable of restraint. That is enough to begin. Elias felt the weight of the moment settle upon him. I will carry your words, he said. Queen Aerith inclined her head, a gesture few had ever seen. My daughter believes that the future changed the day you lowered your weapon, she said softly. I believe she is right. The great doors of the hall opened. Sunlight poured in. Captain Elias Ward walked forward between the silent ranks of nobles and soldiers. No chains bound him. No guards touched him. Behind him, the Queen of Lyris stood tall upon her dais. The war had not ended yet. Treaties would take time. Trust would take longer. But in the heart of the enemy's throne room, a single choice had broken the cycle. A soldier had chosen mercy. A queen had chosen trust, and everyone in the hall had witnessed the moment. The future began to change. Asterisk.